On the Kumbakonam series of temple, we had the opportunity to visit the Amrita Ghateshwar at Abhirami temple too. We drove from Vaidishwaran Kovil or temple that I have to yet make a video about. So it is simply, this temple is simply referred to as the Abhirami temple and is located just 21 kilometers from Mayiladuthurai, and you can approach it from that town too. So before I continue, my name is Sangeeta Venkatesh and a very warm namaste. Welcome to this channel, and on this channel we speak about temples, travels, destinations, spirituality and culture. And if all these topics interest you, do consider subscribing. So back to Thirukadaiyur. We were here especially because my husband turned 60, and in Sanatana Dharma, this event is known as Shashtiyabda Purti. Now, Shashtiyabda Purti is a Hindu ceremony conducted to felicitate the 60th birthday of a man. The age 60 represents a milestone for a man and is considered a turning point in his life. It is seen that around your 60th birthday, the stars or nakshatras come back close to the positions where you were born. Also, in Vedic astrology, Jupiter and Saturn, which are the slow-moving planets of the constellation, Jupiter revolves around the Sun in 12 years, and Saturn takes 30 years. So the lowest common multiple, or the LCM, and you remember learning about it in school, of both the numbers is 60, and hence this number holds a special significance in human years. So this temple is specially visited by couples when the husband turns 60 or 80, and there are many couples who also want to celebrate their special milestone wedding anniversaries here too. And indeed, when we arrived, the temple was teeming with celebratory families. So there are a lot of legends associated with this temple. And one of them is, of course, all the legends are related to the ruling deity of this temple, that is Lord Shiva, who is worshipped here in the form of a lingam and is known as Amrita Ghateshwar, which translated from Sanskrit literally means Lord who leads to immortality. Now, Amrita is immortality, Ghata is a step, and Ishwara is Lord. So, Lord who leads to immortality, Amrita Ghateshwara. So this name is linked to the legend of the Samudra Manthan, or the churning of the ocean, which I'm sure all of you know about, which is mentioned in our mythology on several instances, when the Devas and the Asuras were after the pot of nectar, that elixir of life that would give them immortality. Now this story is connected to many other stories in mythology too, and is also a major part of Vedic astrology. So as the story goes, at the end of the Samudra Manthan, the Devas got a pot of nectar or Amrita and started consuming it immediately. It is well known that, before start of any venture in Sanatana Dharma, Lord Ganesha is always worshipped or invoked, and he has been given the responsibility to remove any obstacles of a new venture. But here the Devas were making merry after receiving the nectar and had completely missed worshipping Lord Vinayaka or Ganesha. So this did not go well with Ganesha, even though it was an unintentional slight by the Devas. He stole the pot of Amrita and hid it at Thirukadaiyur, where he created a Shivalingam dedicated to his father and mother and poured some of the Amrita over it, and hence the Shivalingam at this temple is known as Amrita Ghateshwara, and hence, it has got great significance to lifespan and age. So there is another legend associated with this temple. I'm sure you remember my previous videos, if you have seen it, that I have mentioned Rishi Markandeya several times, and if you have not, most welcome to go back, otherwise I'll link it in this video. Now Thirukadaiyur is closely linked to his life too. Indeed, there is an entire Purana dedicated to him known as the Markandeya Purana, which is a conversation between him and Rishi Jaimini. So the story goes like this. There lived a sage named Rikandu and his wife Manaswini, also known as Marudamati. As staunch devotees of Shiva, they worshipped him with great devotion, asked to be graced with a child. After many years of penance, Shiva appeared in front of Rikandu and Manaswini. He told them he was very pleased with their devotion. However, they would have had to make a choice. Now, why was he giving them a choice? I don't know, but this was a choice he gave them. They could either have a gifted, virtuous, and pious son who would live up to only 16, or a son who would be dull, but one who would live a long life. Was it a tough choice for Rishi Mrikando and Manaswini? Not at all. Mrikando and Manaswini chose the former as they wanted their son to be of some value to the world. And so they were blessed with their son, who came to be known as Markandeya, an exemplary son destined to die at the age of 16. When Markandeya turned 12, he was initiated into studying the scriptures, and soon he had mastered the Vedas and the Shastras. Everyone around him adored the boy for his charming looks, his affable nature, and the deep knowledge that he had. So as he approached his 16th birthday, Markandeya noticed that his parents were distraught and asked them the reason. When his parents told him the reason, Markandeya was unmoved. He was a Sthitapragya and said that death was as natural as birth. However, he was upset that his parents were upset. So he sat down and started meditating in great earnest to Lord Shiva. On his 16th birthday, Markandeya sat down and started meditating in great earnest. Many of the Yamadutas, or the messengers of Lord Yama, the god of death, came to take his soul away. But the intensity of Markandeya's austerity was so intense that they couldn't come near him. Then Lord Yama came himself to take Markandeya away. As a god of death, he was merely performing his duty. But Markandeya clung on to the Shivalingam, and as Lord Yama put the noose around the boy's neck, the noose also encircled the lingam. The Shivalingam split into two, and out came Shiva, trident in hand. He pushed Yama aside and killed him to save the child. Hence, Lord Shiva came to be known as Mrityunjaya, or one who conquered death. And the Mrityunjaya mantra was revealed to Markandeya by Lord Shiva, who blessed Markandeya by saying that he would never get old and would remain a Chiranjeevi, one without death, till the end of time. Hence, Lord Shiva is also known as Kala Samhara, or one who has conquered time. Markandeya is therefore one of the 7 immortals on earth, or the Sapta Chiranjeevis. On the request of the Devas, Lord Yama was also revived, or else there would be no death on earth without him, and this would create an imbalance in this universe. Markandeya went on to write important treatises, which included, of course, the glorious Purana called the Markandeya Purana. So, hence the temple is famous for performing pujas when one reaches specific milestones like 60 and 80 years to ward off apamrityu, or untimely demise. The temple's architecture is a testament to the grandeur of Chola dynasty, characterized by intricate carvings, majestic gopurams, and the sanctum sanctorum is adorned with intricate sculptures. There are a number of beautiful paintings on the side walls, and the ceiling is also brightly decorated. There are several inscriptions in the temple which belong to the time of the Cholas. The temple complex covers 10 acres and has 2 gateway towers known as gopurams. The tallest is the eastern tower with 11 stories and a height of 46 meters, or 151 feet. The temple has numerous shrines, with those of Amritagateshwarar, that is Lord Shiva, and Abhirami, goddess Parvati, being the most prominent. Though this temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva, it also has a shrine for Mahavishnu as Amrita Narayana and his consort Mahalakshmi as Amritavalli. So many of the Nayanmars, that is saints who worship Shiva, have sung the praises of Lord Shiva in this temple. This temple is also associated with the staunch devotee Subramanya Iyer, also known as Abhirami Pattar. His devotion to goddess Parvati, or Abhirami, was unparalleled, that he would see her image in all women. So the Maratha ruler Sarfoji I in the 18th century had established an Agraharam, or the Brahmin quarter, around the temple, and Subramanya Iyer was born here. One day, when the king visited the temple to pay homage to Lord Shiva, he noticed Subramanya Iyer and his strange behavior. He asked the priests about it. One of the priests dismissed him, saying that he was mentally unbalanced, while another priest said that he was indeed an ardent devotee. To assess Subramanya Iyer himself, King Sarfoji asked him whether it was a new moon or a full moon that night, just to gauge his intelligence. Subramanya Iyer, who could see nothing else but the shining, luminant form of the goddess, remarked that it was a full moon when in fact it was a new moon day. He was also at that moment observing the religious rite known as Tithi Nitya Aradhana in the Sri Chakra Navavarana Krama and worshipping the goddess as Paurnami Tithi or the full moon. But this was not apparent to anyone, and Sarfoji rode off, telling Subramanya Iyer that he would have his head cut off if the moon did not appear in the sky by night. Iyer realized his error, and then what did he do? Subramanya Iyer is supposed to have lit a huge fire and erected a platform over it, supported by 100 ropes. He sat on the platform and prayed to the goddess Abhirami to save him. He cut off one rope after another in succession on completion of each verse of his prayer. When he came to the 79th verse, which said, "Her merciful eyes have got superpower, and she is the ocean of blessings with no limits. It is believed that goddess Abhirami herself appeared before him and threw her earrings over the sky such that it shone as bright as the full moon, and the entire temple was lit up with bright light." Overcome with ecstasy, Subramanya Iyer composed 21 more verses in praise of the goddess. The king Sarfoji realized that Subramanya Iyer was no ordinary devotee and cancelled the punishment. He also bestowed the title Abhirami Pattar on Iyer, which translates to priest for goddess Abhirami. To this day, Abhirami Pattar is still celebrated at Thirukadaiyur on the new moon day in the Tamil month of Thai, that is, which spans mid-January to mid-February. So I want to ask you, do you know what is the composition that Abhirami Bhattar composed? What is the name of the composition? I would like to know if you know it and can give me information. Do drop in your comments in the comment box, and maybe I will do a short on it very soon. So look forward to hearing from you. And with this, I end the account of our visit to Thirukadaiyur. I hope you enjoyed the narration. And with that, this is Sangeeta Venkatesh signing off. See you next time.